hotel that never lets you check out. And a reservation. On a freezing November night, the rain fell so hard that Highway 27 looked like a river of black glass. At exactly 11:47 p.m., journalist Noah Carter was driving home after covering a crime story in northern Montana. His GPS suddenly lost signal. The radio filled with loud static. Then, a woman's voice whispered through the speakers. "You're almost here." Noah immediately turned the radio off. The voice continued. Even though the radio was no longer on, he looked around. The highway was completely empty. No headlights, no passing cars, no signs of life, only endless pine trees disappearing into thick fog. His fuel gauge suddenly dropped to empty. "That's impossible," he muttered. He had filled the tank less than an hour ago. The engine began coughing. A few seconds later, the car died. Everything went silent. Noah grabbed his flashlight and stepped outside. The cold air felt unnatural, not cold like winter, cold like standing inside a freezer. As he looked ahead, he noticed something strange. A neon sign glowed with word. It hadn't been there a second earlier. The faded sign read, "Black Pine Hotel, Vacancy." The building looked at least 100 years old. Its windows glowed with warm yellow light. Music floated softly from inside. It looked welcoming. Almost too welcoming. Noah had no other choice. He walked toward the entrance. The old wooden doors opened before he touched them. Inside, the lobby looked untouched by time. A fireplace burned brightly. Placid old music played from an old gramophone. A grandfather clock ticked loudly in the corner. Behind the front desk stood an elderly receptionist dressed in a perfectly pressed black suit. He smiled politely. "Good evening, Mr. Carter." Noah stopped walking. "I never told you my name." The old man simply smiled wider. "We've been expecting you." A strange feeling settled in Noah's stomach.
Do I have a reservation?
The receptionist opened an enormous leather guest book without even looking. He nodded. "You made it exactly 30 years ago!" Noah laughed nervously. "I wasn't even born 30 years ago." The receptionist slowly closed the book. "That's what every guest says." The fire in the fireplace suddenly went out. The room became silent. Every clock in the lobby stopped at the exact same second, 12 a.m. Then, every clock began ticking backward. One by one, the hotel lights flickered. For just a fraction of a second, Noah saw dozens of people standing silently around the land. Women, children, all dressed in clothing from different decades. The lights returned. Everyone was gone. Only the receptionist remained, still smiling. "You look tired, Mr. Carter. Room 27 is waiting." "I think you've stayed there before." Noah forced a laugh. "I've never been here." The receptionist slid an old brass key across the counter. It was covered in scratches. Engraved on it was one sentence: "Don't open the bathroom door after 3 a.m. Noah stared at the warning. Is this some kind of joke? The receptionist leaned forward. His smile disappeared. For the first time, his eyes looked frightened. "No. It's the only rule that matters. Outside, thunder shook entire hotel. The front doors slammed shut by themselves. Noah ran toward them. They wouldn't open. He pulled harder. Nothing. He looked through the glass. The highway had vanished. Beyond the doors, there was only darkness. Not night. Just endless blackness. Slowly. Very slowly. Someone knocked from the other side. 3 soft knocks. Then a whisper. Please don't leave me out here. Noah stepped back. The receptionist spoke without looking up. Whatever you do, don't answer the door after midnight. The knocking came again. This time louder. Then a child's voice cried, "Mom, it's freezing!" Noah reached for the handle. The receptionist shouted, "If you open that door, they'll know you're here!" Silence. The knocking stopped. For almost a full minute, nothing happened. Bang. A wet handprint slowly appeared on the outside of the glass, followed by another, then another. Hundreds of pale handprints covered the entrance doors as though an unseen crowd had gathered outside, waiting, watching, styling. Noah picked up the room key with shaking hands. He had no idea that checking into Black Pine Hotel would become the worst decision of his life, because no guest had ever checked out alive. To be continued.
The hotel that never lets you check out. Part 2. Room 127. Noah tightened his grip on the old brass key as he stepped away from the front desk. The receptionist never looked up again. Instead, he quietly said, "Remember the rules?" Noah stopped. "What rules?" The old man slowly raised one finger. "Never answer a knock after midnight." A second finger. "Never look outside your window after 2 a.m. A third finger. "And no matter what you hear." His voice became almost a whisper. "Never open the bathroom door after 3 a.m. Noah wanted to ask another question, but the receptionist had disappeared. The chair behind the desk slowly rocked by itself. There was no sign that anyone had ever been sitting there. Only the old guest book remained open. Its pages began turning on their own. Then they stopped. Noah looked down. Every page contained names. Thousands of them, some dated 1912, others 1947, 1989, 2005, 2021. The final page made his blood run cold. Only one name was written there. Noah Carter. Under it, no checkout date, only one sentence. Room 27 is waiting! The elevator stood at the end of a hallway. doors slowly slid open before Noah reached it. Inside, no one. The mirror covering the back wall was cracked from top to bottom. As the doors closed, Noah glanced at his reflections for just 1 second. His reflection didn't move. It simply smiled. He spun around. Nothing. The elevator stopped. Second floor. The doors opened with a loud metallic groan. The hallway stretched farther than seemed possible. Dim lights flickered overhead. The faded wallpaper peeled from the walls. Every door was numbered. 29, 23, 29, 23, finery, 2017. The door looked different from all the others. Its wood was darker, covered with deep claw marks. Someone had scratched hundreds of tiny lines into the frame, as if desperate people had tried to claw their way out. Noah unlocked the door. The room smelled strangely fresh, like someone had cleaned it only moments ago. A king-sized bed's perfectly made. A wooden desk sat beside the window. An old television quietly displayed great static. The bathroom door was closed. A small handwritten note rested on the bedset table. Noah picked it up. It read, "If you're reading this, you're still early." There was no signature. He searched the room. Nobody. His phone finally powered back on. No signal. The battery suddenly dropped from 82% to 9%. Then it began charging by itself, even though it wasn't plugged in. The screen lit up. One new notification. Voice message receive. Unknown sender. Timestamp. Tomorrow. Hands trembling. Noah pressed play. Static. Heavy breathing. Then his own voice. Weak. Terrified. If you're hearing this. A loud crash interrupted the recording. His future voice screamed, "Don't trust the mirrors!" The message ended. The phone shut itself off. Noah stared at the bathroom door. The silence inside the room felt wrong. The list alive. He took the time. Who said damn? 43 minutes until the warning. He decided not to sleep. Instead, he opened the desk drawer. Inside was an old leather journal. The cover read, "Every Room 2017. Its pages contained entries from dozens of different guests. The first one was dated October 9, 1931. I hear someone crying behind the bathroom door every night. Another entry from 1968. The knocking starts exactly at 3. Another from 1999. Don't let it convince you to unlock the door. The handwriting suddenly changed. The final pages looked fresh, written in black ink. The date was tomorrow. Noah froze. The writer's name appeared beneath the entry. Noah Carter. He slowly began reading. If you've reached this page, I'm
isn't the owner. He's a prisoner. The guests aren't trapped because they checked in. They're trapped because someone opened the back door. Noah slammed the journal shut. The room suddenly became freezingly gloom. Every light flickered. The television turned off.
The hotel that never lets you check out. Part 3. The hidden basement. Noah refused to move. He kept his eyes fixed on the bathroom doors. The scratching slowly faded into silence. Then, nothing. The room became so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat. After several minutes, the bedside lamp flickered back to life. The bathroom door was perfectly still. The handle wasn't moving anymore. Noah slowly backed away and grabbed his camera. If this is some kind of prank, he whispered, I'm recording everything. The camera battery showed 100%. Just a moment ago, it had been completely dead. He pointed the lens toward the bathroom. The small screen showed something strange. The room looked normal, except for one detail. In the camera's view, someone was standing beside the bathroom door. A tall figure wearing an old hotel bellhop uniform. When Noah looked over the camera, no one was there. He raised the camera again. The figure remained perfectly still. Its face was hidden beneath an old-fashioned hotel cap. Slowly, it lifted one hand. Not to wave, to point toward the hallway. Then the camera screen went black. A loud knock echoed from outside his room. 3 slow knocks. Noah remembered the first rule. Never answer a knock after midnight. He stayed silent. Another knock. Then an elderly man's voice. Room service. Noah frowned. He hadn't ordered anything. The voice came again. Fresh towels. Silence. Then, the voice changed. It became the receptionist's. Mr. Carter, I need your help. Noah took a careful step toward the door. Just as his hand reached the handle, he noticed something underneath it. A folded piece of paper had been pushed under the door. He picked it up. It contained only one sentence. If someone speaks outside your door after midnight, it isn't one of the staff. His hand instantly pulled away from the note. The knocking stopped. A few seconds later, heavy footsteps walked away down the hallway. Noah waited another minute before opening the peephole. The hallway was empty, except at the very end of the corridor. The old receptionist stood completely still. He looked directly toward Nuritwil. Then he slowly raised one finger to his lips. Shh. The hallway lights flickered. When they came back, the receptionist was gone. Unable to sleep, Noah searched the room for more clues. Behind the wardrobe, he discovered a narrow wooden door hidden amid faded wallpaper. There was no handle, only a small brass keyhole. The old room key fit perfect. The hidden door creaked open. A steep staircase descended into darkness. Cold air drifted upward. At the bottom was a narrow tunnel made of old stone. It didn't look like part of a hotel. It looked centuries older. The tunnel ended at a rusted iron gate. The abrupt lock was a faded sign. Noah pushed the gate open. Beyond it lay an underground archive.
Shelves stretched endlessly into the darkness. Thousands of guest books, thousands of photographs, thousands of suitcases covered in dust. Every suitcase had a name tag. Every name belonged to someone who had supposedly disappeared. One photograph caught Noah's attention. It showed the hotel entrance. The date on the back read October 14, 1996. Standing beside the front door was a little boy smiling at the camera. The boy looked exactly like Noah. Another photo, different year, same boy, same smile. Another. Dozens of photographs, every 10 years. Always the same face, always standing in front of Black Pine Hotel. No always flickered. That's impossible. Then he heard footsteps behind him. He spun around. An old woman stood between the shelves. She wore a faded hotel maid's uniform. Her eyes looked tired, but kind. "You're not supposed to be here," she said softly. "Who are you?" Noah asked. "I've worked here for longer than I can remember." She gave a sad smile. "I've forgotten my real name." Noah glanced at the photographs. "Why do I appear in pictures taken decades before I was born?" The old woman sighed. "Because this hotel doesn't choose people. It chooses families." She explained that for generations travelers had vanished after entering Black Pine Hotel. But the hotel wasn't hunting strangerons. In August, no one could ever walk out to those who had escaped that front door. Noah's grandfather had entered the hotel many years ago. He escaped. But he broke one of the hotel's rules. Since that night, the hotel had been waiting for another member of his family to return. "You were invited by accident," she whispered. "You inherited the invitation.